Alrighty, we have reached week 3 of the NFL season. The season's moving pretty quickly. Last week had an amazing week of picks, went 14-2, and in the 2 losses, it was a combined loss of 2 points. Only both of those teams only lost by 1 point. So, without question, one of the sharpest weeks that we've had so far on this channel. 14-2, the 2 losses were by a combined 2 points. So that's a great outcome. I really like my picks for this week. Lot of go either way games, in my opinion, but I'm going to break it down here, and we're going to start with the Thursday night football game, the Bills and the Dolphins. And if you look at Miami this year, they're in a point right now where by the end of this year, I think the head coach, Mike McDaniels, will be out, the GM will be out, the quarterback, and Tyreek Hill. I think that they're going to be in a total reset. They're not on the same page at all. And what I will say is Mike McDaniels, he is going to be a really good OC somewhere else. He's just not. He doesn't have what it takes in this market. And given some of the personalities on that team, he doesn't have what it takes to be the leader for them. And a lot of it is on players not performing, health, a lot of different things. But Miami is just not that good this year. And then you look at Buffalo. Buffalo looks prized to compete to get to the Super Bowl this year. The window's never been more open for them. And I think you look at it, Thursday night football, I think that it maybe starts a little close. Maybe Miami has a little bit of hope, but I think Buffalo is going to take this one 31-14. I don't think it's going to be a contest in the second half. And Josh Allen is going to have a really solid performance for them. James Cook has been looking really good too. Moving on to the Sunday slate of games, we have the Packers and the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns got dismantled against the Ravens the previous week, and Green Bay looks like the best team in football. So when you pair those combinations, I think this could be a runaway train at this point. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win this one 28-10. If you do look at it with the Cleveland Browns, you have Joe Flacco right now, quarterback. We'll see how much longer they stay with him before they decide at this point, let's pivot to one of these younger guys. Let's pivot to Dylan Gabriel. Let's even pivot to Shedeur Sanders. I think that it's going to be possible because I think they're going to get lit up in this game. And I have the Green Bay Packers 28-10. Moving on to a very controversial game we have the Bengals and we have the Vikings. And if you look at this matchup, J.J. McCarthy already ruled out for Minnesota. Not that he's been playing particularly well. It's going to be a lot to ask for Carson Wentz to come in and win his first game here. And then you have the Bengals on the flip side. You have Jake Browning, who is going to be the starting guy, but this is the difference between the two. Jake Browning has had a lot more recent playing experience. I mean, last week he came from behind and won that game. And if you look at it, the Bengals still have a really good offense. Their defense is actually decent right now. It actually looks pretty decent. And I know they played the Jags and the Browns, but through what I've seen, it doesn't look disastrous, which is good. I think that it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but I will take the Bengals to go 3-0 to start the season. I just don't like Wentz having not played in a while. So give me the Bengals 14-13. I feel that Jake Browning has just been there recently, and I think that the defense is a little bit better. And as good as Justin Jefferson is, if you can't get him the ball, you can't win games. So give me the Bengals 14-13. Moving on, we have the Colts and the Titans. The Titans, Cam Ward has looked pretty good this year from what I've seen. He had a really good touchdown throw against the Rams where he had to kind of do the spectacular a little bit. If you look at the Colts, Daniel Jones, a resurgence with Shane Steichen. Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you just need the right pairing as a quarterback and head coach with scheme guy, and everything opens up. The field opens up. You see more things. I'm going to take the Colts, go 3-0. I'll have them winning this one 28-18. I think Cam Ward just needs more pieces at this point. It's not that he's bad. It's that they don't have enough pieces. They're not built out enough, and they're probably going to have to get a new head coach at some point. So I'm going to take the Colts in this one at 21-18. Moving on, you have the Steelers and the Patriots. I've been anti-Steelers in the first couple picks that I've done recently. But I think when I started the year, I think I had New England, the Patriots. I had them in the playoffs. I thought they'd be a wild card team. I don't think they're there yet. If you look at it, they lost to a Raiders team that struggled against the Chargers. They barely beat a Miami team. It was very close, and Miami is very bad, in my opinion. So if you look at it, I think they might be a year away. And sometimes with head coaches, it takes a year to change the culture, to reinvent things. Look at Sean Payton in Denver. It took about a year for him to get under everything. Drake May is still very much a work in progress at this point under the new system. So I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to take Rodgers and this team. I think that they will have enough when it comes to DK Metcalf and the offensive personnel. And then their defense has looked bad in previous weeks, but I think they step up this week, and they show why they're the most expensive defense in the NFL. Jalen Ramsey has been pretty good for them, but the rest of the defense has had some issues stopping certain packages. So I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers will win 24-17. It will be a close game, but the Steelers will pull away at the end, 24-17. Moving on to the Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is a coin flip game for me. Really close, really good defensive fronts going off against each other. You also have two pretty explosive offenses. Eagles, definitely a run-first offense at this point. The Rams, more passing attack. Devontae Adams coming into his own. Puka Nacua. So you have a bunch of different levels to this team. If you look at it in the NFL game, they played against each other, and the Rams were really close in a snowstorm to pulling the upset against the Philadelphia Eagles, the closest that a team played them in that entire playoffs. So it's really a go either way game. I've went back and forth on this one a few times, but what I will say is I get burned so many times when I've been against the Eagles, so I'm going to take the Eagles 23-20 in a close sweat of a game, but I just think they'll have enough. I think Eagles start the year really well. They always have under this new regime. So I'm gonna take the Eagles 23-20. Moving on, you have the Buccaneers versus the Jets, and Tampa Bay, two come from behind victories late. They've been one of the most exciting teams in the NFL so far. Won both games within the last minute, I'm pretty sure. So they have found ways to win. In the Jets at this point, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to roll out Tyrod Taylor. So I don't know if they're. I just don't think the Jets are going to have enough at this point when you factor that they're going to have to do that, and their defense honestly hasn't looked that great for how good of personnel that they have at this point. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay 30-18. I'm going to take them to start the season 3-0 under Baker. Emeka Egbuka has looked really good back-to-back games with touchdowns, so he's looked really solid. Worth the first-round pick so far. So give me Tampa Bay 30-18. Moving on, we have the Raiders and the Commanders. The Commanders are looking to bounce back after a game against Green Bay where kind of got away from them a little bit. Jaden Daniels didn't have a lot that he was able to do offensively. And if you look at the Raiders, they look kind of lost against the Chargers. Now, I think the Chargers have a really solid defense, but some of this might have been that Brock Bowers' health wasn't all the way there in that game. Ashton Genty, they need to run him more. From what I've seen, if I have a big criticism over how they've played so far, Ashton Genty, especially him being young at this point, he's not going to be sustainable. We know how these running backs work. You need to run them early and often when they're young and when they can actually recover from these injuries or push through and not have serious injury problems at this point. So they need to run him more. And you go to the fact they drafted him in the first round. If you drafted in the first round, then do something about it, right? So they need to run him around 15, 20 carries a game minimum that's what they need to do. But I think the Commanders will win this game. I think that they're just going to have too much and prove to be too much for the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them 27-17 in a game where I just think Jaden Daniels overpowers their defense at this point, and the Commanders will win 27-17. Next up, you have a divisional matchup, the Falcons and the Panthers. And I actually think this will be a really close game. If you look at it, the Panthers were looking really bad against the Cardinals. Then Bryce Young kind of turned it on. He had over 300 yards passing. Now, I know that it's a lot easier to pass for that many yards when you're trailing. So that's a big factor. But I think it's only a matter of time before they end up winning one of these games. That game against Arizona really came down to the wire. If you look at it, Atlanta got a really solid victory over the Minnesota Vikings, really dominated that game, had a lot of red zone issues, but at the end of the day, dominated that performance. So I think they'll win. I think they'll win 18-17. I have it being a really close game. I think it could go either way towards the end, but for the time being, I will take the Falcons 18-17. Moving on, you have the Texans and the Jags. And if you look at the Jags at this point, they blew a big game against the Bengals, and Brian Thomas hasn't looked as good. Travis Hunter has been shaky for being the second pick they traded up for. He had that bad pass interference against him. And I know it's early, but he had that bad pass interference against him that led to the Bengals, getting back downfield and winning that game against them. Houston has not looked great either. Their O-line is still a really big issue that needs to be fixed. CJ Stroud played bad, though. He has played bad so far. He had a lot of missed throws, so it's not all on the O-line, but I think it goes hand in hand. So those things need to be corrected. But I think that the Houston Texans will win this one 20-13. I think they have enough to get past the Jaguars, and they'll get their first win of the season 20-13. Moving on, you have another huge divisional game, the Broncos and the Chargers. Chargers are rolling right now. They look really good. Justin Herbert playing really well. Ladd McConkey. Their defense is their strong suit, and that's something that Harbaugh does better than any other coach. He really goes in there, he integrates the defense, makes them really good. They've been awesome so far. Denver has a good defensive unit too, but they've looked shaky. They look shaky against Tennessee. They got a lot of points scored on them by the Colts, and Bo Nix in the offense. They've gotten off to a slow start this year. So I think the Chargers get a narrow victory, 30-24. Denver's going to make it tough. It's going to be a really close game. But if you look at it, their defense has not gotten under them yet. Bo Nix has not gotten under himself yet. So they just need some more time to weather the future of the season. And they'll be a better team later on. But right now, it looks like they're still finding an overall identity. So I'm going to take the Chargers, who have been really sound so far, gotten some good victories, and I'm going to take them 30-24. Moving on, we have the Saints and the Seahawks, and the Saints have kind of held their own in their first couple matchups where they've lost, but it's been close and competitive. I don't think that's the case in this one. I think Seattle really showed what they're made up against the Steelers in the second half. Jackson Smith and Jigba really breaking into a star receiver right now with Sam Darnold, with how much they're pushing the ball down the field. And if you look at Seattle's defense, their front and their secondary, it's a solid unit. I think they win this one pretty convincingly, 31-7. Seattle in this one. I think they get a big time victory, and I think New Orleans is going to struggle against the Seahawks, 31-7. Moving on, you have the Cowboys and the Bears, and the Bears, they just have not looked good. And I think the big thing with this is Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are just not a good fit. It's not a proper team up between the two of them. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a coach and a quarterback that don't get on the same page, it usually never works. So I expect Caleb Williams, if he plays bad in this game, to be benched for Tyson Bagent. It seems like he likes Tyson Bagent more. He seems like the type of coach where he needs a field general guy, not an ad lib person like Caleb Williams. Like he would do better with like a Brock Purdy in his offense or a Mac Jones or someone that can just go sit in the pocket, deliver, run his offense. That's not what Caleb Williams is. So I think that's why they're struggling right now. Their defense does not look particularly great since the fourth quarter against Minnesota. They had a bad game against the Lions. And if you look at the Cowboys, Dak Prescott has looked insane so far, throwing the ball down the field, racking up yards. He's being asked to throw like 50 times a game. He's getting it done. And still has a good completion percentage. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's kind of proven he's worth that contract right now. He's playing really well. He's so far, and I know it's only 2 weeks, he's the second best performing quarterback in the NFL through all statistics if you vary it out. So give me the Cowboys 35-24. I think their offense is going to be too powerful for the Bears. And if the Bears can't put up points, they can't win the game. So give me the Cowboys 35-24. Next up, we have the Cardinals and the 49ers. I think this is going to be a really tight game. You have to look at it, though. It will be Mac Jones who plays this one. So if you look at it from the 49ers perspective, they barely had enough against the Saints in the previous week. The Cardinals also are a team that we're kind of playing on thin ice against the Carolina Panthers. They've only played the Saints before. So I think this is going to be a really close matchup. And it was one of my toughest picks of the week. But I think that the Cardinals will find a way in the end. 20-19 is my score, a 1-point game. I think it's going to be really close. But if I had to choose one of these teams, Arizona's more healthy. I'm going to take them 20-19. Moving on, we have the Chiefs and the Giants. And the Chiefs still winless on the year. Giants are coming off a really good performance that they had in the previous week. But I think if you look at it, if you put it together, Chiefs are going to get their first victory of the year. They got to win at some point. It's a primetime game. It would be a disaster if they lost. So give me Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs in this one at 27-14. I think they have enough to get past them. And I think that Mahomes and the Chiefs need this one badly. So 27-14. Then we have the big Monday night showdown. This is an awesome game that we have set up. Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Gibbs, Henry. You have heavyweights all around in this big game, and I think the game's going to deliver. I think the Ravens will hold on to this game this year, though, this time, and they'll get the victory 38-35, but it's going to be an offensive explosion in my mind. Both these teams, their defenses seem to not be all the way there. So give me the Ravens 38-35. And that's going to do it for week 3. Extremely excited for trying to build off how good we did in week 2. Look forward to week 4 next week.